plastic would still be on them. So I'd set the CDs in binders for like yards, right? So I just got frustrated one day and said, I want to figure out what the hell this is. Like, what is this stuff? What are we supposed to be learning here? We're spending all this money. So I started opening the books, and I got the bug. I fell in love, and I never really looked back. So not at all what I intended to do in my life, but I absolutely love it. And I've had the opportunity over the years to get to work with some really, really cool people, because back then, this was before there was like flipping shows on TV, right? I think Trading Spaces was on. Does anybody remember that show? Yes. Yeah? I love that show. Okay, so those are the only things that were really going on, and so a lot of big like gurus and names out there right now, they won't want me to admit this, but I got to know them way back when they had mullets and no money. Seriously, it's a true story. Okay, so I've had fun. I've gotten to be in the right places at the right time to watch people try new things over the years. And I still keep those people very, very close so that I can always be picking their brain. What's working now? What's working tomorrow? What's going to work next year? What no longer works? Those are constant questions I have when it comes to marketing and branding and lead acquisition. If you're not asking those questions yourselves constantly, you're going to outdate your own business. Okay? Because one thing we all have to have is deals in our pipeline. Those of you that are agents who work with investors, your investors need deals. Those of you that are agents and just like being an agent, you need listings. So no matter what, we're always wearing the hat of putting more deals in our pipeline, right? Right? Right. Oh, better. Okay. I do actively flip houses. Here's some quick pictures of some that I've done. I love renovating. And because I have to be a mom, this is really why I do it. So we're all entrepreneurs. This is one of my favorite quotes. And this is what we're going to be, this is our theme for the night. Okay? Our theme, as I go through all this redundant stuff, is that you have to create your own future. And there's really no better way to do it than in real estate investing. And there's really no better way to start than in this particular department of your business. Okay? That's our theme tonight. Are we going to remember my theme? One of my favorite quotes. You'll see it all the time. Okay. So the reality is with leads. If you don't have leads in your pipeline, you don't convert those into deals, what do you have? Nothing. Right? The only way you're going to make money is if you have something that's an asset you can turn into money, right? So if I go get a deal and I put it under contract, what can I do with it? A lot of things. A lot of things, right? Everybody list out some things I can do real quick. If I get a deal?
Sell it, flip it.
Right, okay.
Have it, keep it.
Got it. All right, there we go, all at once. I can rent it, I can buy it and rent it. I can rehab it and sell it retail, right? I can wholesale it. I could prehab it. I can just flat out wholesale it, right? So I've got lots of things I can do, but if I didn't put it in the pipeline in the first place, I won't have it at all, right? Okay, so this is what I mentioned in my disclaimer. Here's the deal. To find deals, honestly, the same things that we were doing back in 2001 and the same things that we do today, they're exactly the same. I swear, they really are the same. So when I bore you tonight with some things that you guys already know because you heard it from some guru or you took a course or you saw it on Bigger Pockets or wherever, okay, I'm sorry. But it's the wheel. The wheel hasn't changed. However, we're going to add a little technology tonight and we're going to make this kind of like a high-performance tire. Is that cool? Yeah. Okay. Because I love old school, but I love technology. I'm a total geek. I'm more of a Big Bang Theory girl. Right. Those are my guys. Just saying, I'm single too. I would marry any one of those. All right, so we're going to add a little old school, a little new school tonight. Because and we're going to start with some old school stuff. How many of you in here drive for dollars? Can I ask that again? How many of you drive for dollars? Okay. I'm going to tell you right now. I don't care how old school you think this is. In my bag of tricks, this is one of my #1 love zones for finding property. For a whole lot of reasons. Right? So those of you that didn't raise your hand, my first assignment to you is to go drive for dollars. This weekend. Go this weekend. In fact, years and years of coaching students for a large program here in the country that I was an inner circle advisor for, that was always the first thing I would have them do. They'd be kind of freaked out. Oh, I don't know what to do. I don't know where to start. Great. Get in your car. Here's what you're going to go do. Right? If they didn't have any money to go spend money on marketing, bandit signs, or whatever it is, this is what I would have them go do. And I guarantee you, if you actually do it the way I do it, you'll get deals. Okay? I closed one on Wednesday this week I got from Driving for Dollars. It's not a huge check, but it's a nice one. Okay, so here's the things that I do that's old school. Right? When we drive for dollars, just as a good reminder, right? Let's all write this stuff down. There's no better way to measure a micro market than to be in it. Visually breathing the pulse of the neighborhood. I'm able to see what commercial property may be kind of revitalizing itself. I'm able to measure gentrification on site. Are homeowners improving their own homes? Pay attention to that. Are people rehabbing? Are there dumpsters in driveways? All right? Is there new builds going on? All of those things are very, very important for you to measure a neighborhood. Sometimes better than any microeconomic data you can go Google. Okay? So get there and drive around. When I'm driving around, I do lots of things that a lot of people don't do, and I see people do this all the time. They drive for dollars, say, oh, there's one house, it's got a tarp on the roof, let me write it down. I do more than that. I call every listing agent's sign in the neighborhood, unless I already know them. At this point, I know a lot of them. I call the listing agent. Why? Why would I call a listing agent? Anybody got an idea?
They know the neighborhood.
You got it. They already have their pulse in the neighborhood. And guess what else? There's a gentleman that said he works old leads. Same in that same leverage mentality. If a real estate agent is driving in that neighborhood, they're already spending money to have that listing. They're spending money to market. Why should you spend money? They're spending money, right? And they come across property that would be perfect for you. So you need to get to know them. They're also measuring that visual pulse like I just talked about. They know what's coming, what's happening. If the Beltline is coming through there, they can tell you exactly when the next development starts because they're paying attention, generally. Not all agents. Okay? Disclaimer. And by the way, I am also a licensed broker. So we'll talk about that in a minute. All right, so I go through, I look at listings I call for sale by owners. I pitch them right there on the spot. I'm standing in front of your house right now. Here's a picture. I'll text it to you. Okay? I call for rent by owners. Anybody ever call those? A for rent sign? Why would you call a for rent sign?
You might want to say
Exactly. So stop and call them, right? Hey, I see you got your house for rent. Would you consider just selling instead? Right? Cash offer. I'll close in 7 days. I call all of the abandoned signs because I want to get on their buyer's list or just see if they're just like me. Right? And that happens, right? I write down every distressed property. My kids will tell you that we stop a lot. Mommy gets out of the car, certain neighborhoods aside, but I get out of the car and I drive up, I walk up to the, and I knock on the door. Okay? If it's obviously vacant, I might not do that, but I go knock on the neighbor's door. Okay? I take with me, and this is my little trick, and I think other people do this, and you can probably, again, it's the wheel, didn't reinvent it here. But I actually leave a yellow, large Post-it note that's pre-written. I wrote it on this black Sharpie marker. I printed it on my printer at my office, cut it into half sheets, double-sided tape on the back. Looks like a big, giant Post-it note. It says, hey, I was just driving by. Call me. I don't put a lot of information on there. Keep it simple, stupid. Don't overdo it. Okay? I did the same thing with a neighbor's house. Hey, neighbor, do you know how to reach your neighbor? All right? I really want to get a hold of them. Does anybody do that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes? Okay. This is how you actually drive for dollars. Now, here's what happens. And some of you can admit this to yourselves, and it's okay. You do that every now and then. You drive around, okay, and you write down stuff on a pad of paper, right? What happens to it? You lose it. It ends up in the floorboard of the truck. Coffee gets spilled on it. It gets thrown away when you clean out the car at Quick Trip and you forgot to look. Okay? I'm sorry, I get it. I admit the same problem. Okay? So technology. Now we're going to do Driving for Dollars 2.0. How many of you have a smartphone, iPad, iPod? The whole room, right? How many of you have or have used Google Docs? How many of you love technology? How many of you hate it? Okay, it's okay. I get it. The cool thing about Google Docs is I don't care if you absolutely hate technology, it's easy and simple to use, and there's an app on your phone. Nobody uses flip phones anymore. If you have a flip phone in here, please come see me later. My dad still has a flip phone. I begged him to get off of it. I get it. I want to get my dad on Facebook. I think he'd like it. All right, but if you have a smartphone, there's an app for Google Docs. All right? So the cool thing is when you're driving for dollars, now you're going to put it on your Google Doc. Okay? If you really want to get cool, and you want to see what your guru friends are doing, they're paying whole armies of people to drive these neighborhoods, pull them an address up on Google Maps, automatically program their system where it zaps that address straight to their spreadsheet, which automatically puts a photo in the spreadsheet, and then they send that to their virtual assistant. Their virtual assistant scrubs it against tax records. Then they trace the addresses. Then they create a custom audience that they dump into Facebook so that those people are getting marketed to like this, and they don't even know they are. That's what the gurus are doing. Can you get close to that? Yep. Yes. Okay? So we're going to do kind of 1.5. Okay? All right, so 1.5 for you guys is you're going to start getting off your notepads because you can't do anything with that. You're going to hear me talk about static versus kinetic. In marketing, there's static versus kinetic. What's a stack of business cards? Static. If you don't take that information and put it somewhere where you can automate some follow-up to it, you have nothing. Same thing happens with driving for dollars. To compete in this market, you've got to go to those neighborhoods and convert these addresses, which are technically static, into something that you can market to, automate that marketing, follow up with, so you don't have a bunch of just dead weight. Okay? This takes commitment. The cool thing about this entire process, if you'll map it out with me, is that you can outsource the whole thing. Okay? You can even, if you think about it, and I have this. So I have a form that I created. I have a Google form. The Google form is really, really simple. So my tree guy, who I've trained to look for houses with tarps on roofs, can go to my Google form on his little phone, because he has an app on his phone, because I made it where he can put the app on his screen. He just puts the address in. It automatically sends the address to my Google Doc, which automatically goes to my VA, which automatically scrubs it against tax records. Do you see where I'm going with this? Okay? So I don't have to think about that. Before I know it, that house has been scrubbed to see where the owner lives, if I have an address or an email address for them, potentially social media accounts. Now we're cold calling them outbound. We're saying, hey, you want to sell your house? And they haven't even gotten a letter yet. Okay? So tonight's goal, as I mentioned in the beginning, was to be redundant and confuse you and overwhelm you, and at the same time, really, I hope, inspire you to think past something static. Am I succeeding with that so far? Because if I'm not, and this gets really boring, you start to fall asleep, I'll either buy you a beer or tell me, okay? All right, so that's driving for dollars. So I will tell you, I'm only going to list out a couple campaigns tonight that I believe are the top ways to find deals. And I honestly will tell you, this is my go-to. And since 2001, I still, on a daily basis, do this. All the time, okay? The only old school thing that I do personally, if I'm actually going to drive around, is I have one of those old map books with the spiral. Wow. Because when I started back in the day, that's all we had, okay? So we would go to Sam's Club and we'd buy the big spiral bound ones, and then we'd have like all these little Post-it note flags and lots of highlighting until the book would like fall apart, and then we had to go get a new one and we'd cry. It's like, oh, there's good notes in there. All right, so I come from the old school days, so I still do that because then I can highlight where I've been and where I haven't. Okay? So my kids will tell you we know where every really great ice cream place is, skating rink, cupcake shops, right? Mommy has mapped them all out so that I can drive them to say, hey, we're going to go to Decatur today because we have to drive Belmont Hills. Good? So just saying, driving for dollars is definitely a top list, but I'm telling you that your competition is taking it up to that 1.5 and that 2.0. Okay? So I'm now calling my driving for dollars list within a couple of days of driving past that house. We're reaching them on the phone. Everybody know where East Cobb is? Okay. And in the spirit of haves and ones, I love to buy property in East Cobb. Everybody make note of that. I'll make sure you have my contact info at the end. But I found a property that's been vacant for years in East Cobb. Those of you that know the area know that it's very rare for a property to sit there at all. Okay? The owner is a real estate agent. I found her because I skip traced her, I found her on LinkedIn. Okay, I couldn't find her any other way, but I found her on LinkedIn. I sent her a connection and a message. She reached out to me. I made her an offer. I don't know if I'm going to get it or not. Cross your fingers. That's how I found her. All right, so now let's go into another lead generation method, and let's do the same thing. Let's see if we can't push it up a notch. How many in here use the MLS to find deals? How many of you don't use the MLS to find deals because you don't have access to the MLS? Okay. Did you know that there are tools that you can find online that are very, very close to the MLS? Okay. Hit me up later and I'll show you guys some things you might be able to do and or ways to work with an agent to potentially have access to the MLS. MLS to me is one of the top ways to also find deals. And a lot of people, gurus even, right, will tell you that it's a horrible way to find deals. That there's no inventory, that houses that are listed on the MLS just immediately fall off the MLS, they're gone, multiple offers, right? Is that what you guys see? Yeah? How many of you bought a deal last year off the MLS? A couple of you. Awesome. Okay, how many offers did you make relative to the deals you got? Do you want to share that? That's awesome. Anybody else? That's awesome. Okay, most people don't have those results. And if I were to poll like investors just statewide, they'll tell, a lot of them will say, no, I make a lot of offers and I don't get the deal. Or I get it under contract and I have to back out because it wasn't what I thought. There are gurus that teach investors to make blind offers on MLS listings. Those of us that are agents, do we like that? No, right? So the MLS, in a way, for a lot of people is a deterrent. That's what we hear. I'll hear that a lot. It's a complaint that I get. Oh, I made lots of offers. I can't seem to find anything. Or as soon as I find something, it's gone. It's already under contract. Okay? I happen to love the MLS, but I look at the MLS in reverse. So let me share something that I do, and then we're going to bring some technology to it, kind of like I did with Driving for Dollars. Is that cool? So MLS, first and foremost, and this goes with anything. If you use Zip Realty or Realtor.com or Zillow or any of the online tools where properties are listed that you can go look them up, you can read the remarks, right? The description. Okay? So first and foremost, I search by descriptions. I actually sort that way. I'm looking for property that's got words that sound like motivational qualifiers. Right? So I'm already sorting down for houses that look like it. And then I look at the pictures. If it has red shag carpet and pine paneling in the living room, I will call that, even if it's overpriced, even if it doesn't look motivated, right? Because it should be, in my opinion, okay, unless you like red shag carpeting, which, there's a time and place for that. But I go and I try to find those. But now, here's something that I've learned, that even with those type of filtering on MLS deals, what's more important, the listing itself, when you call on it, or potentially the person you talk to? All right, so going right back to Driving for Dollars, oh, you're killing me. Going right back to Driving for Dollars, is the agent that is their pulse on the neighborhood, right? So what I did to convert higher with MLS was to no longer care about the listing itself. It might be ugly, it may be motivated, it may not be motivated, but I have an agent in a neighborhood that has a listing, right? So I talk to the agent. I have a script. I have people in my office that call that agent and talk to them because they know the pulse of the neighborhood. See where I'm going with this? The cool thing about this conversation, or MLS in general, is that their email address is included, right? Okay, so now I can contact this agent by cell phone, through text, by email, and I've talked to them. It's called emotional muscle memory. I'm going to create it several different ways. Hey, I'm calling about your property on 123 Main Street. Is it still available? No, we've got multiple offers. Oh, that's okay. Oh, it is? Yeah, that's actually really, really great. I'm glad to hear that. I'm looking for exactly the same type of property. Let's talk. Okay? Not all agents will talk to you, but some of them will be absolutely thrilled to add you to their list. Okay? So I turn the MLS into a database, and if you're in my team, you'll hear me use the phrase Agent Underground. Literally what we call it. I have an entire pipeline in my CRM that's called Agent Underground. We love adding agents to that database. It is our highest converting database of anything that I have. Good. Right? I take those agents, I put them in my database, And I send them consistently text blasts and email blasts throughout the year. Okay? It's all content and information share. I almost never ask them for anything. I just say, hey, it's Amy again. I wanted to let you know I just bought a house. Oh boy, I just sold one. Oh hey, my renovation just got completed. Would you take a look? Okay? On rare occasion, I'll send them one that just says, hey, it's Amy. I haven't talked to you in a little while. My investor just gave me more private money. We have to purchase something before the end of the month. If you happen to know of anything coming through your office, let me know. Okay? Those are the ones that get replies back. Yes.
Can you buy through an agent?
You can buy through an agent. Yes.
What you do.
I do. Now, I'm a licensed agent. I'm a licensed broker. Why would I do that?
Save the commission.
I'm sorry?
Save the commission.
Why would I represent myself? Sure. But if it's a property I'm purchasing, and that agent might bring me 5 more, why not let them win? Right? So we have kind of a running thing. I train agents in my team. That's a good question. If it's a full listing and they're offering, maybe 6%, and we only take 1. Okay? And oftentimes what that means is that an extra 2 percentage points just got put in the pocket of that listing agent. If it's a buyer's agent, then let them get the commission. I have no problem with that. I may not give them the sale on the back end, and if I'm wholesaling it, obviously I've got to make sure that all the numbers work. But the idea is to build a relationship. I don't want one-offs, I want repeat business. So if that transaction is a smooth-running, healthy transaction, and they win, and I win, and the seller wins, my buyer wins, that's a really good day, right? Did they agree with that? Okay. Now I will say, when I'm selling a property that I've renovated, sure, I'd love to keep the commission internally. Right? That makes sense. And if we can do that, great. It doesn't mean that even myself over the years that I haven't hired an outside agent to sell my renovation, and I'm a broker, and I pride myself in selling mine really well. Okay? And as again, sometimes it's a matter of a relationship that will bring me more opportunities. Marketing costs money. If I'm going to drop $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 a month in direct mail, okay, leads can cost money. Right? Why not let an agent make money? It's going to bring me leads, and I don't have to pay marketing. Does that make sense? Yeah? Okay. So I'm always trying to figure out how we can think around the box, play the game. So let's dive a little, I was already touching this a little bit, but let's go deeper a little bit into that 2.0 version of this. How many of you play with Facebook marketing? How many of you want to play with Facebook marketing? It kind of freaks you out. Few people. Okay. So I absolutely love Facebook. Facebook is kind of like Pinky in the Brain, Dr. Evil. So it's Big Brother scary. Okay? I can build databases in Facebook like you've never seen. I can actually tell Facebook, hey Facebook, I want to make baby bibs, and I'm looking for women who are thinking about having a child. And I can start marketing baby bibs, and they're not even pregnant. That's what Facebook enables you to do now. So with my agent Underground, I do 2 things. One is I run campaigns actively on Facebook to people who have said that they are a realtor. Okay? Secondly, and I can be geo-specific. So I can say City of Decatur, and their interests are real estate, and they are a realtor. I can actually market to them. What I really love is I can take a database of agents that I've already interacted with. They've talked to our team, they're getting my emails and my text blasts, and I can send them marketing on Facebook that only they see. That's me. Hi, it's Amy. How are you? I just bought a property. I just sold a property. I'm standing in front of a property. That's all it is. It could be a quick video. It could be a quick just post, right? But I'm staying in front of their memory. Again, emotional muscle memory is what I'm doing. Your big gurus in the marketplace, they're taking Facebook to a level that will really freak you out. And they're getting their marketing in front of people on a consistent basis, and you don't even realize they're doing it. Some of you in this room may be getting marketed to, and you have been wondering why you keep seeing the same person all the time. And it's because you've been put on a list, and they've added you to Facebook as a custom, what they call a custom audience. So we take our agent database, all these agents we've talked to, which you don't even need MLS to do, right? And now I'm able to target them all the time. Not in a mean way, but I'm just saying, hey, it's me again. Don't forget about us. Remember we buy property, remember we solve problems. Right? I did a little post on how the probate process works. I had agents all over the place replying back to me, messaging and commenting to me because they wanted to know more about probate. That's all I did. I'm sharing information. So that's a method that I want you guys to consider. And maybe the takeaway from this is not necessarily MLS, but what the takeaway is, in my opinion, what's more important, the listing or the relationship? Okay? So intentional relationships will make money for you. All right. Direct mail. Ooh. How many of you in here do direct mail? How many of you do direct mail consistently every month without fail? How many of you spend $1,000 or more per month in direct mail? How many of you spend $100 or less per month in direct mail but do it consistently? Okay. How many of you would say direct mail doesn't work? It's okay, you can admit it in this room. I won't hurt you. Okay. So direct mail, how many of you have never tried a direct mail campaign? Never even tried one? Okay? All right. I am a big believer in direct mail. So I'm going to go over with you what I think are the best ways to attack direct mail, and then we'll talk about what the gurus are doing to turn direct mail also into another level. So you're aware of what's coming. Your direct mail lists that are best to mail to are lists that have what we call motivational qualifiers. Without even looking at my list, anybody got some idea? What are some of the most common things, if I could mention it here, that people have? Like
Non-owner occupied.
non-owner occupied. Could be absentee owner. Could be a landlord that owns it. All right. Anybody got anything else? Divorce, bankruptcy, right? Death in the family, which can be inheritance lists or probate, right? People who are tax delinquent. People who are behind on their mortgage. For all those years that I did short sales, our biggest list was pre-foreclosure. Okay? If you ever want to work pre-foreclosure or short sales, I've done a little over 600 in the years between 2001 and 2009 as a team. I can answer your questions on the foreclosure process. I don't do them like I used to, but that was our main go-to list. Because if they're facing foreclosure, they had to make a decision. They're either going to lose the house, or they're going to find another way to stay there. So sometimes the deals that we would do wouldn't even be a traditional just buy the house. There were sometimes other methods we could do to help them, right? But that's a list that you can get access to of people who are in a distress scenario. It doesn't mean that you're trying to prey on their distress, because they would provide a what? Say that louder? Solution. You're a solutions provider. Think about that in a minute when we talk about the 2.0 level of direct mail. There are a ton of list providers out there. If you're going to do direct mail, I'm going to give you some basic reminders of what's important with direct mail. Okay? One is, yes, you want to find lists of people who have some sort of motivational reason to sell their property. But I'm going to contradict myself in just a minute, so hold that thought. Secondly, you have to be consistent with your direct mail. Right? You have to not give up on a direct mail campaign. Would anybody in here admit to doing a direct mail campaign and sending out like 100 or 200 mailers and then stopping? I like when people admit it. Okay. That was always one of the most common things that would happen. I'd have someone call me and they say, hey, Amy, I really want to get my marketing going. I want to get off the train and make it happen. I'm like, great, direct mail. And I would assign them to do 250 cards every Monday for the next month, right? And then I say, no, make that the next 90 days. Okay, and make them commit to it. They would be on Monday on the phone with me, right? Tuesday, they'd send out 250 cards. Monday, they would call me. I quit. Because I didn't get a single phone call, and I spent all that money on 250 cards. This doesn't work. Direct mail is a marathon marketing method. Now, I'm going to give you some 2.0s on it, and I'll show you some real power behind it that's new. But you've got to stick with it. You need to be sending out 500 or 1,000 postcards. And you need to be sending to that list of 500, 1,000 or more. Don't go higher, okay? To a good list. At least 6 touches. Some gurus tell you 4. Some say 12. I'm on the 12th train, to be honest. How many of my agents in here do like a farming mailer? How many of you guys do that? Okay? Yeah? They work. Do you know why they work? I've used a phrase earlier called emotional muscle memory. That's marketing. That's what it does. So agents who send you, like, you ever gotten the postcards that have like a recipe on it or a calendar? I will say that I get the Braves thing, the calendar for my refrigerator. I'm a Braves fan. That I love. Now, I don't pay any attention to who is on the little calendar. Okay? But I get that, and I love looking forward to it every year. But I guarantee you, if I was just a homeowner, and I thought about selling my home, and I got eggs out of the refrigerator every morning, and I looked at that Braves calendar, when I actually needed to sell my home, that agent has a higher chance because of their emotional muscle memory on me for me to call them. As a broker, agents complain, oh, I don't want to do those campaigns, those stupid recipe things, they're expensive, and I don't want to spend the money, and they complain. But the ones that I convinced to do it, they have results. It doesn't happen right away, though. It's going to be months down the road that you're going to get that lead. That's direct mail. Okay? But the benefit to you guys as investors is that you can up the ante because you're going to mail to people who have a reason to look at your mail. They need a solution. It doesn't mean that they're not, what's the phrase? I'm going to use the word ostrich. Sometimes they got their head in the sand and they don't want to face the solution that they need, right? But I guarantee you, you have a higher chance than just a random direct mail because they are thinking about it. And they might hold on to your mail piece and not call you for 3, 4, 5, 6 months down the road. So you have to do your mail consistently. They also won't call you on the first mail piece. They don't trust you. They don't know who you are. But on mail piece number 2, they go, that's that guy again. On mail piece number 6, I might want to see what he has to say. Okay? So we're going to add a little 2.0 to your mail, to your direct mail, okay? And by the way, you can't see it because it's all blurry. That list that's over there, that's a huge list of direct mail list providers. Keep that thought because I'll give that to you later. This is a huge list of all the different ways, all the different motivational ways I like to find deals. I'll share that with you later as well. Common mail pieces. Anybody see that? What's that thing called?
Yellow letter.
The yellow letter. How many people have done the yellow letter? Okay, so list 2.0. I'm going to give you guys a little ninja tip for those of you that are willing to put a consistent budget behind your direct mail. You're going to target not just a motivationally qualified list, meaning that they are definitely tax delinquent or they're definitely in bankruptcy. Right? I get that. But here's the thing. This is what some of your guru competitors are doing. Okay? I know because I just talked to one who spends $20,000 a month in direct mail. 20 grand. The guy also does a little over 2,000 deals a year as a company. Right? So this is a big guy, right? So I think what he's going to share with you is pretty relevant, yeah? So I asked him, I said, well, what are you doing? What are you targeting for your list? And I kind of was hoping I would hear this because I've heard this from other people. He's targeting geospecific areas that are good areas, and he's mailing to everyone in that area that is in a home with a mortgage origination date that's aged. Meaning their mortgage origination is 10 or 15 years old. Why would we do that? I heard the billboard. Yes, equity. Right? Perceived equity. It doesn't mean that there's not other liens or... Okay, we get that. But it's just closed one with 7 liens. That happens. Yeah. Yeah, wow. It was though. All right, so, but the thing is that they have potentially equity. And then they'll combine that with age of the owner. Where am I going with this? Retirement. They want to maybe downsize. Maybe they're ready to move to Florida. Maybe there's health issues. Maybe they have an assisted living issue they've got to handle. There's reasons, right? Maybe they're just tired of owning it. Maybe it's a rental property that they own that they bought 20 years ago. They've moved on to another home in Buckhead. They still own that house out in Johns Creek, and they don't want it anymore. Okay? So that list, what that does is it gives you additional people to mail to that aren't necessarily hot to pull the trigger, right? So it might be a little slower to reply to you. But guess where they are not? Where is their house not listed? On the MLS. And what? Yes, they're not on the pre-foreclosure list, they're not on the tax delinquent list, likely. Does it mean that you couldn't scrub those lists against that list? Sure, why not? I could say, well, I want old mortgages with older homeowners that are tax delinquent, but the list is going to be this big. You know what I do with those? I knock on the door, right? Those get put into the Driving for Dollar campaign, because those are worth trying to reach them, right? But in general, though, you can farm that list, and if you do it consistently, every month, and you stick with it, you will have results. Agents in the room that want listings, if you will stick with that, you will get listings from that. Okay? Phrase in my office, monetize all effort. We say it all the time. If a lead comes in, right, it's not necessarily an investment deal, there may be another way to make that lead work. And that particular list will bring a lot of those. Your pre-foreclosure people, they may not have time. They may be a week from sale. Not that there's not solutions. Okay? There are solutions. But the people on this list tend to simply just be potentially facing a challenge. There's a house I showed you when I had the slides of the renovations. There was one on there. They had that came from that list. They had held on to my marketing for 9 months on the refrigerator. And when I finally sat at their kitchen table to talk to them, I turned around and looked, and I'm the one that saw it. Okay? They didn't have any inclination to call me when they got my first mail piece. It was just the reality of it. Okay? So this is 2.0. Now, the type of mailer. I put dead fish don't, or only dead fish go with the flow. Okay? Because everybody's mailing to the other lists, right? Sorry, it's my little phrase. I'm sure there's a meme somewhere that says that, but I've always said it for a long time. I keep my mail pieces simple, KISS method. Really, 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 really simple. Okay, those of you that are licensed, you got to add that you're licensed, depending on how you're marketing from your entity or from yourself. But I keep it really, really simple. If I overwhelm them, they won't read it all, they'll throw it away. I just want to make a stamp on their emotional muscle memory. That's all. Some of the mail pieces, as they get into a campaign, I will add some technology. I might give them a call capture phone number or a text capture. Hey, I have some free information I'd love to share with you. So now I can capture their email address. Okay? With their email address, now guess what I can do? Market to them by email. I can also create a custom audience in Facebook. Okay? So these poor people will hear about the foreclosure process all day long. Okay? And I can hit their newsfeed 5, 6, 7 times a day. You won't see it because you're not in foreclosure, but they will. Okay? It doesn't work for the entire percentage of a database that I upload, but it does for at least 50%. That's what we're finding. Okay? So I take, again, a boring old direct mail campaign, which most investors give up on mail piece number 1. I turn it into a multi-step campaign, and then I try to cultivate and convert them into my list so that I can now market to them. Now we're going to take it one more step. All of these direct mail lists, you want to know what the big gurus are doing here? They're doing it in mass. They're hiring entire telemarketing centers. See where I'm going with this? They use skip trace services to actually mine the data for every single name on the list. When they mine the data, they're getting an email, potential phone numbers, even social media accounts. And they're paying reps and phones to call these people again before your mail piece ever got there. Can you do the same thing? Yeah. Yes, you can. There are services that you can pay to skip trace your database. Even the Driving for Dollars database, remember I said we're going to be redundant? Going back to the Driving for Dollars database, you can actually have the whole thing skip trace. So write this down. You want to do skip tracing. If you just want to look up one record at a time, I like something called Ben Verified. B-E-E-N, Verified. B-E-E-N, a retainer, Verified. So, Ben Verified, I can dump in their email, or dump in their address, or dump in their name, and I can find everything about them. Then I can actually go back, and I can pull their cousins, their aunts, their uncles, and other houses that they own and anybody that might be attached to them. And I call. Sometimes I say, how did you get my number? Why are you calling me? And I just flat out tell them, in this day and age of technology, I just happened to look you up just out of curiosity, and I thought this might be your number. Because it is what I did, right? Okay. You'd be surprised how many people you can find on Facebook. Truly, right? Those databases can then, in large form, you can put 1,000 names through a system, and I'll give you another one here. I can throw that into Facebook. So write this down. If you want to do large lists at a time, there's a tool called Accurate. It's ACCURINT. Accurate is a LexisNexis program, and you can actually do batch searches. Right? It comes with a fee. But if you wanted to go buy 1,000 name lists from ListSource, or Melissa Data, or US Data, or one of those places, you can then send it to a service like that. I think there's another one called, is it TRO, TLO? Is another TLO? Yeah, TLO is another good skip tracing tool. TLO. So that you can find these homeowners. How many of you have ever, as an agent in your office, had what we call inside sales agents? Anybody know what that is? An ISA? You yourself could team up with somebody, like this gentleman here, to simply call your leads. Right? So if I drive past a fire-damaged house on my way home tonight, which I actually am, I had lunch with a guy today. He says, hey, I just drove past one that's missing its second floor. I'm like, yes. Anyway, you can remember the address, so remember the street. So I'm going to go drive over there. I'm going to write the address down. Then I'm going to go home and I'm going to get on benverified.com, and I guarantee you I'll find them before I wake up in the morning. And I will talk to them. All right, so that's direct mail at another level. Is anybody with me? Does it create any questions?
International owners, overseas owners.
You can sometimes find them by social media. So yes, you sometimes get phone numbers too. It's a little bit difficult, but you can definitely go that way. The ones that tend to fall out of your list are going to be where an institution owns it, or a trust or LLC. But even an LLC, you can go on the Secretary of State site and find what? I heard it. Registered agent, right? Registered agent might be their attorney or their accountant, but it also might just be their aunt or themselves. They're supposed to do that, okay? Right? And then you can go try to find them. Can I send a letter to the attorney that's the registered agent of a house that's blinded? Sure. I might not get as far as the homeowner, but I can definitely try that, right? Okay, so that's direct mail. So I've given you 3 so far campaigns that everybody teaches and everybody does. Just a little bit of a twist. So now let's get into the real, oh, maybe. Oh, there, I did 3.0. That's my favorite movie, by the way. But I shouldn't have that. All right, so now let's talk about another good old grassroots elbow grease way to get deals. How many of you in this room have signs on your car that say we buy houses? Okay.
How many?
How many?
One of you?
How many of you can say with complete confidence that if you polled your family, not your immediate family, okay, not your son's, daughter's, wife, husband, right, but your kind of family, okay, how many of you could poll them right now and they can tell you what you do? Truly. 2 hands, 3, 4, 5. Okay.
You said truly.
Truly? Okay. So this comes back to exposure marketing. I am not reinventing the wheel here, people. If you really want to close deals this year, we got to be doing this. How many want to close 5 or more deals this year? That should be everyone. Okay? So exposure marketing, guys, is an easy way to get property. If you're a realtor and you don't have a sign on your car that says I'm a realtor, you're losing out. Your car is a rented billboard that you pay for anyway. And hey, by the way, you get extra write-offs because you didn't sign on it. It says, hey, I'm a realtor. Okay? So you need to do exposure marketing. I wear T-shirts all the time. I'm known for this. I'm known for graphic T-shirts all the time to say what I do. I flip houses, ask me how. I have shirts in the gym that say earn 8% off with me, ask me how. Okay? I work out in the affluent gym. All right? So I'm just saying.
Do that again.
No, thanks. But you want to constantly be wearing what you do. I wear hats that say I buy houses. Do you want to sell a house? I have a hat that says that. Okay? I'm always putting out there what I do. That includes technology. How many of you have a Facebook account? Okay, how many of you on your Facebook page does it say anything about what you do? Not all the room. All of the room should raise your hand. I don't care if you have a full-time 9-to-5 job. That's still your public page. How many of you have a business profile? Okay. If you don't have a business page, that's another assignment from Amy. So when I see all of you again, you're going to have signs on your car, and you're going to have a business page on Facebook. Okay? Because all these cool things that I've been talking about doing with Facebook, guess what? You can't do them from a personal profile. You have to do them from a business profile. Okay? So all of you have to go and create that. So then again, the people who you know, who are in your immediate circles, know what you do. You're missing out on so many deals just by not advertising who you are and what you do. Right? Those people who drive around with cars that are car wrapped, there's a reason they do that. Okay? It really does work. You'd be shocked how many people, when they realize it, go, oh, hey, I know this guy. I was having lunch with him the other day at the office, and he knows so-and-so and knows so-and-so, and they've got a house. Okay? It happens. Right? So if you're not doing things to get exposure for your company, I highly suggest it. Bandit signs, car wraps. Right? Signs on the side of the road. You can get road frontage somewhere that doesn't cost you an arm and a leg. I don't mean billboards. Okay? I used to have a neighbor or office off of Roswell Road years ago. We had road frontage on Roswell Road near the Prado. Okay? We plastered those windows all the time. I was an art major, so I got out there and actually painted. We buy houses. Okay? We clean it off and we do it again. We'd add snowflakes for the winter, and we'd add like 4th of July fireworks to make it pretty, right? But we had an opportunity for people to see what we do. So my encouragement to all of you is that at the very least tonight, because it's easy to implement, is that all of you do something to start wearing, speaking, and shouting what you do. Okay? CafePress.com. You can order shorts before you go to bed tonight. CafePress.com. I heard someone say Razzle? Zazzle. Zazzle, yes. Okay? Go ahead, get on there. Start wearing it. Right? My kids all wear shirts. We buy houses. They don't like them. Okay, so now we'll take exposure marketing to another level. I encourage you that if you're going to have people finding out what you do, then offer them a reason to opt in. Offer them a reason to interact with you. It doesn't even necessarily have to be where they actually give you their email. I'll talk about that in a second. Right? If I can get people to go to a landing page about what I do, just going there through my Facebook business profile, I'm actually able to track by pixel, this little cool technology thing that's not hard to do, and you can show you how. I'm actually able to track that they went to my site. And guess what? Even if I don't have their email, they can see my information now all the time on their newsfeed. Oh, hey, by the way, I buy houses. Oh, hey, by the way, I just bought one. Oh, hey, by the way, I just sold one. So I'm staying again on their radar in their emotional muscle memory. Okay? But the only reason that happens is because I was willing to put it out there for exposure as to what I did. And gave them a reason to interact with me. It could be free information. Agents were all taught how to do that, right? 7 things you should do to be ready for your home inspection. Okay? Those things work. Give information. My agents on our team will tell you that I have what we call the 3-heart rule when it comes to social media. We're always giving, and everything we do is giving. It's all from our heart. I love what I do, I love my community, and I love you. Those are our 3 hearts. You can do that in your marketing, okay? You can share that. What if you shared information about a big event coming to Marietta Square, or the Beltline is doing their lantern parade, right? What if you posted about that? Would somebody go visit off-site, get off-site onto your landing page where you hosted an article about the lantern parade and you just captured their information and now you can market to them all the time? Yes. Okay? So exposure marketing is something as simple as a t-shirt can be turned into something where you can market to people forever. That's Amy's passion. I don't like static marketing. So if I'm going to wear a t-shirt, the one that says earn 8% off of me, ask me how, it says text this code to this number, kind of like that Justin did earlier. Okay? It's right there. do it. Sometimes I'm kind of embarrassed, but yes, they do that. So now I can actually market to them again. Okay? So I'm going to encourage you tonight to think past the box of just a t-shirt and think, well, how do I get people to interact with me and now stay with me forever? So basically you're taking your family from this to that. Okay? And you're staying on the radar. So that's exposure marketing. Anybody out here doing anything unique that you'd want to share for exposure marketing?
One thing you didn't mention is referrals.
Ah. So referrals are a wonderful thing. Now, that we can go a couple different directions with that. But referrals from family and friends or anybody that we know, we all want those. Referrals from your previous client base. That's a no-brainer, right? How many of you have closed a deal with somebody and you've never talked to them again? Admit it. Okay. Anybody read Michael Marr's 7 Levels of Communication? Write that down. That's a great book. He's a broker, he's a real estate broker. But one of the things that he really is big on is saying following up with people that you've already interacted with. You've heard me say this tonight at least 50 times. I told you, I'm sorry, I'll be redundant. Okay, I'm actually not sorry. I'm going to be redundant. Following up and staying in touch with people is really, really key to your business. So if you have done a deal with a buyer or a seller, or if you've talked with a seller at any point and they didn't want to sell you their house, but you got their email address, what did you do with that? What do we do with it? Continue to drip on them. Continue to market to them. Because they might not want to sell you their house at 123 Main Street, but the guy at 124 Main Street, when he gets ready to sell, they're having coffee in their backyard or they're arguing over whose dog pooped in whose yard, and he calls you and says, my neighbor needs help. Okay? I flipped 2 wholesale deals on Church Street a couple years ago that came exactly that way. Now, another version of referrals would be something we like to call bird dogs. Anybody understand what a bird dog is? Yeah? Now, there are different arguments in schools of thought of what a bird dog is. So in my world, a true bird dog is the very, very beginning. This is just someone who simply refers me an address. They haven't found the owner. They haven't negotiated a contract. They haven't done anything. They just happen to know what I do. Remember my tree guy? Told you he has a form, a Google form. All he does is put the address in. That's it. Okay? I don't get anything else from him. I don't expect him to learn how to take those flashcards and learn how to talk to the seller and negotiate objections. I'm not giving him that pressure. We'll take on that pressure, right? Okay? That's what I would consider a bird dog. Now, there are people that you might decide to work with to get a deal done, like our gentleman here who offered to split it with you. That's different. That's a whole other level. Now I'm hiring talent to find that homeowner and convert them. Okay? But that's something you can generate from your marketing. It's referrals like that.
I actually offer a $500 referral. So anyone can refer and then they get cash and they remember that.
Okay, so they love that. So let's talk about that for a minute. And I'm going to, my broker hat for a second. So those of us that are licensed, we cannot offer bird dog fees, a licensed person to a non-licensed person. Can't do that legally. But there are ways to buy leads from people. There are methods that some people have determined to make that work. So I just want to put that out there for just a moment. But you're right, incentives work really well. So for those of you who are just an investor and you have a licensed entity, and or just have an entity and you're out there doing deals, bird dog fees are very attractive, right? Hey, $1,000 if I close the deal? Yeah, they do remember that. The neighbor with the Post-it note? What if you put that on there? Hey, neighbor, I'm trying to find your neighbor. If I can buy it, I'll give you $500. Right? They're probably so sick of that house. That alone is a reward. But they would love the $500 too, right? Okay? So can you get creative? Yes. Okay? So and there are whole campaigns. In fact, I suggest those of you that like to read for bigger pockets and blogs like that, there's some great ideas.
I think some of those bird dog fees are illegal even for non-licensed people because they're then performing the services of a real estate agent and they're not allowed to do that.
Yes, and he is exactly right, which is why I suggest, disclaimer, so I put my broker hat there on for a minute, is that you go and you take a look at what works and doesn't work. And there have actually been some cases in different states, and I don't want to open up a can of worms. There are ways to do it that are right, and there are ways to do it that are wrong, okay? But in general, it can be something that works, right? The point of that is to create an incentive for someone to bring you a deal. Posturing, good posturing, can oftentimes get people to bring you deals without any monetary reward at all. And that's how we posture in our office, right? I'm here to provide a solution. I'm going to get rid of the crack house next door. That's a great solution, right? Okay, I'm going to get rid of the barking pit bull that lives in the backyard next door. Okay? There are different things that lead up to that. I haven't loved pit bulls, but every now and then you find one that's a little scary. Okay, so, and we've had one. But you have the incentive is to try to posture, hey, I'm going to improve the community, I'm going to bring up the comps in the neighborhood, I'm going to make things better. And that's generally where we'll posture. Okay? But he's right, and that really what you're trying to do, again, is just increase the odds of people bringing you deals. That's the whole point of this. I promise, you can tell people, if I sent you out of here tonight and you didn't spend $1 on direct mail and $1 on Facebook, and all you simply did was tell me that you're going to call the 20 people closest to you that are not living under your roof and tell them what you do, I guarantee you that half of you will have a house by the end of the week. You'll know of something. Because everybody drives to work every morning and they drive past an ugly house. I don't mean ugly because the shutters are bad. You get what I mean? And I say that not lightly. I hired a guy once and he was bringing me out this list. I'm like, boy, you're pointing a lot of houses. And all of a sudden I started to realize he was bringing me houses that he didn't think were pretty. He has silver spoon. Long story. Okay. So you've heard me talk a lot about follow-up. Follow-up, follow-up, follow-up. Networking. Let's touch on this for just a second. Same thing with networking, with everything else I've said tonight. Static versus kinetic. Tonight, how many people got business cards from people? How many of you, Scouts Honor, Blood Handshake, are going to tell me that when you go home tonight, you're going to enter those business cards in your database? Be honest. You really will before you go to bed. Good. I'm proud of you. Because you're taking something static and you're making it kinetic. Right? You know what most people do when they go to networking events? They get a big stack of business cards and it gets thrown on their desk or lost on the floorboard of their car. It never goes anywhere. Okay? Networking can be a disastrous waste of time. It really can. So how do you turn networking into something that isn't a disastrous waste of time? Simplest way is simply that you do what we said tonight. You're going to go home, you're going to enter those people into your database. I don't carry business cards. That's bad. I'm a marketer. I love marketing. I don't carry business cards. I don't. I had some for a recent program I was doing. It was like the first time I had cards in forever.
Yeah, I got one of them.
You do. It's a nice, thick, pretty little card, but I tend not to carry one, even though I'm breaking all the rules. I know because we're all told to carry them. But I know, I count on myself. I trust myself to take your information and put it in my database. I know I'll follow up with you. But if I hand you my card, I don't know what you're going to do with it. You might completely disrespect it and throw it away. Right? Insult. So, I'll take your information. I generally keep a Sharpie, a little pinpoint Sharpie with me. I take your card, I flip it over, hopefully it's not black. You can actually see my ink. And I write down what you say right in front of you. It's just a little networking trick. I should keep this with you. The BS stops at the door when you start writing things down. People get real. Okay? And it tells me what I'm going to follow up with you about. So now I'm going to go back at home and I know what to email you about. I also, and don't be offended if you ever see me do this, I have left and right pocket or I'll dog ear. So if I don't like you and you're no good to me and you don't really help me, that card just, maybe put at the back of the bottom of the stack, maybe I tear the corner off. Okay? But if you're somebody that is going to be an intentional win-win for us both, right? You might stay at the top of that pile. I'm going to keep you separate. I might put you in my right pocket. Okay? Those are just little networking tips that I have found over the years. But the most important thing I'm sharing with you tonight is a reminder. And I know this sounds so rudimentary and so like, turn the wheel. You got to put those cards in your database. So now I want another show of hands. How many of you have an some sort of electronic technology tool that you're using to manage your database? How many of you still use a notebook? Okay. And how many of you only use an Excel spreadsheet? Okay. So for those of you that are still in a notebook and an Excel spreadsheet, one of my suggestions to you is to find a way to have a more kinetic database so that you can automate your follow-up. Follow-up, follow-up, follow-up. This will be our biggest takeaway tonight, amongst many things. But I want you to be able to follow up with people evergreen style, automatically, without you having to pull the trigger. Okay? So I have two different types of follow-up that I do. Some people go into my database and I have them on a schedule. where they receive stuff that's pre-written months ahead. Okay? So yes, I watched the playoff game, and I wrote 15 emails. Right? But I have 15 emails ahead for a particular pipeline that I have. Okay? And then I have another type of follow-up where those same people, I actually schedule in my life, dates on my calendar, where that day I'm going to get up to do a specific targeted follow-up. Right? So like on the third Thursday of every month, to my private lenders, I do like a newsletter follow-up. They get a personalized email to the group, they think it's coming to them, but it goes to everybody, that says, hey, this happened and that's happening, that's all it is. But I can't write that way ahead. So I schedule it. The third Thursday of every month, I get up at 4 in the morning, I could be half asleep, but I know what I'm going to do. I don't wake up in the morning going, what do? I got so much to do, oh my God, I'm overwhelmed. No, I wake up on the third Thursday and I go, bam, I knock that out. So by 4 to 7 a.m., I got all kinds of things done, and I wasn't even awake yet. Okay? But I just followed a pattern of things that I do on that day of the month. Okay? So you want to take your networking and turn it into something that's more intentional. Right? So number one, when I go to events, we're not going to be a mutual win-win. I might not even, I want to move on. No offense, I don't talk to everybody because I don't mean that. But I may just move on. You know, if I'm at an event because I'm looking for deals and I got the pest guy wanting to follow me around because he won the pest contract, okay, well, I may kind of avoid the pest guy because really what I want to go do is talk to the 4 wholesalers in the room that might have a deal and I need to buy one because I got money I have to deploy. Okay? So I'm intentional. Secondly, I don't let my business cards become static. I make them kinetic. I turn them into something. Now, let's go a whole other level. I'll do follow-up, but maybe I take that database and I put it where? What have I talked about a lot tonight? Facebook. How many people have a business profile again? So I have one of my business profiles that only has like 300 likes. Is that a lot of people? I just ran a post though that I paid to run. I sponsored a post. Had over 2,000 people like it. They shared as shares. Had all kinds of cool things happen because that's the power of business Facebook versus personal Facebook. I can choose to have what I post interact with lots of people. So now back to my intentional networking. I'm growing a database. I take that database and I add it to Facebook as a custom audience so that those people are also reminded of me and what I do. And I can be very categorically specific. Okay? So again, I'm taking a static list and I'm turning it into something that's going to interact with me. Okay? You'll hear me as you get to know me use lots of words like follow up, cultivate, and ultimately convert. Right? If I don't convert people into what? Leads, deals, referrals, profit, is my business going to go up or down? Down. Your competitors, your gurus, have figured out how to take this to a whole other level. Because I can now actually go into Facebook and never attend a networking event at all. Okay? I can go completely ostrich myself and just never come out of my home. Because I can have Facebook control. I can actually figure out people who like different types of events, are interested in different things. So if they're all attending one of the biggest real estate events in Atlanta every month, I can actually make all of those people like me and follow me and follow my posts. Okay? So there's real power in being present on social media and learning how to have people following along with what you do or getting yourself in front of them. We didn't used to have that. Back in 2001, I was like every night somewhere. Okay, so that's intentional networking. Oh, sorry. That's me. All right, so let's talk briefly about social media, because I have already been talking about it redundantly all night. I encourage all of you to do lots of things tonight, some homework assignments. One was some exposure marketing, because that's a no-brainer, right? 2 is to take your databases and make sure you make them kinetic. 3 is if you don't have a Facebook business profile, you promise me when you leave here tonight you're going to create one for your business. Okay? If you don't have an Instagram profile to connect to your business profile, you're going to go make one. Okay? I love Instagram. I generate listings off Instagram all the time. And people laugh because you post pictures of your kids and selfies. Okay, no, it works. All right.
The selfies definitely work.
Ah, thanks, Dustin. All right, so I have lots of things I do. I have to combine it somehow. All right? Those of you that want to really test what Facebook's capacity is, it would take me an entire boot camp. It would take 3 days of us working together to really show you the power of Facebook. Huh? So actually I do. So tonight when I leave here, I'm going to give you a way to interact with me using technology so that I can follow up with you with events and workshops that you can actually come work with me and actually learn how to take it to another level. But Facebook really, really, really works. I told you I can target people by behavior, by interests, by their titles, their demographics, where they live, and combine all that and really get right in front of people. So I can go right now to US lead list, my probate list, and do a quick little video, 30 seconds, about how I know everything about the probate process and I can be your solution. I'm your neighborhood helper, and I know probate. And I can run that video over and over and over and over and over and over again to that list in Facebook. And by the way, your big gurus, this is what they're doing now. They've got telemarketing rooms. They're doing custom work on Facebook. They're also doing something else. How many in here have attempted pay-per-click for marketing? How many have had good results? I got one hand? Truly? 1, 2, Dustin? Okay. All right, very cool. Most people have similar story. They spend a lot of money on pay-per-click without a result. How many of you know, even be honest, you don't know what pay-per-click is? Okay, well that's, okay, ironically, yes, that would actually expect that answer. So pay-per-click is another technology solution that can be really huge for your business. Now, I've gone the gamut tonight. Driving for dollars, I got no money. I got all the time in the world. Driving for dollars 2.0, I got some money. Okay? Pay-per-click, the other end of the spectrum. I have money to spend. I got money to lose testing things. I'm willing to see where it goes. And I got good follow-up systems behind it. That's the key to pay-per-click. Just like with Facebook, if you're interested in learning more about how to do that, that's something that we can spend an entire weekend together learning. Okay? But pay-per-click can be very, very effective. So to make it like just real quick, pay-per-click is when you go on Google, and those top ads and the ads on the right-hand side, those are ads where people have paid to be in that position. You can pay to be in that position. Where people tend to go wrong with pay-per-click is that they won't test their campaign against different keywords, and then they don't measure and track the results, and they don't send anybody somewhere where that person actually interacts with them. So they get capture to convert. So you have to cultivate and capture. So if you're going to send them off page from an ad, you want to send them somewhere where they're going to leave their email address and their phone number. Now the cool thing about Pixels with Facebook is that I can at least track that they arrived at my page, and then I can send them posts all the time to try to stay on their emotional muscle memory. What I really want them to do is actually click through. So if you're going to do pay-per-click, you want to have the tools behind you to do that. So if you don't have a website and things like that, we need to talk. That's an intensive one. He's so cute. All right, so here's my Amy's follow-up for tonight, and then I'll let you guys we'll pick each other's brains. That's really all I really wanted to do tonight. When Dustin said, hey, let's talk about finding deals, I'm like, I know, I want to. There's all these effective things that we can do. We can't do it all at once. It's all been done forever. It's the same stuff. We're just going to enhance it a little bit, right? But here's the things you have to remember with marketing. Number one is consistency. If I could tattoo a word on people on my team or my agents, I would tattoo the word consistency.
What would you tattoo it?
Where would I tattoo it? Sorry. Backwards at their forehead? Is like staring all the time? No, seriously. Okay, but consistency is extremely important. I can't say it enough. It sounds again redundant. You could drive all the way to Hudson Grove and I hear some girl talk about some word you already know. Yeah, exactly. Right? Because I proved it already. How many of you laughed and snickered when you tried direct mail and you gave up? Okay. So consistency is key in everything that you do. Everything. Even my attempts at Facebook. I've had many failed attempts. I did not give up. I stayed consistently applying what I kept learning and then measuring and tracking what was working and not working so that I could keep adjusting until I got better and better results. Okay? Cultivate and convert. That whole static versus kinetic thing. Okay? I can't really cultivate and convert unless I've taken stuff that I found and I got it off my notebook and off my stack on my desk and I actually put it somewhere where I could do something with it. That's a takeaway tonight. Even if you don't remember everything we said tonight, I hope that at least you're going to go home and kick your own butt because you realize that you got this big stack of cards sitting next to your PC that admit to you that you have them there and you haven't done anything with it. Okay? You come to my office, we have a visual example. We actually have a big stack of cards with a big rubber band around it. Like as a reminder, this is what we don't want to do. Technology is your friend. Okay? Crickets. Technology is your friend. Most of us, even if we don't want to admit it, I would say 95% of this room is somewhat technology averse, only because we don't do it every day. Okay? Yes, I went to school, we had the computers with the black screens with the little green, that was it, right? That's all we had. We learned how to do the 01, 01, 01 and make pictures. Anybody remember that? Okay, that's what it was? I don't even know. This was way back, right? Okay, so I didn't have a PC in college. I didn't have a cell phone. My first cell phone was a Nextel beep beep thing. Remember those? They went the rugged. What was that? The yellow one was rugged. Yeah, it was awful. People would like beat me in the middle of Walmart. They'd be saying all kinds of inappropriate expletives from the job site. I'm standing in Walmart and I'd be embarrassed. Okay, that was my first cell phone. In college, I didn't have any of that. I stood in line in the computer lab to type my term papers at 3 in the morning because that was the only time that you could stand in line and have to wait in line forever. So I come from a world of technology that didn't exist, but I've had to embrace it. And I've embraced it because that's what our guru competitors, that's what your competitors are doing. That's what people are doing. They're just a hair further than where you are now and where you want to go. So it's time to embrace it. Is he making fun of me? Hope not. Okay. And then follow up, follow up, follow up. That's what all of this is about tonight. This is about embracing old school systems with some new school technology so that you guys can take some of the workload off by having some automated follow-up. Okay? Is that cool? All right.
Cool.
Anything that you guys want to ask? Open the floor. I'll do my best.
All right, and if you can't hear him, repeat the question.
What CRM do you use?
Oh, beautiful question. All right, so now my real geek is going to come out.
It's all right. Bring it out.
So I actually use a tool called Streak. Anybody heard of that?
Sounds
All right.
nice.
Okay. Let's do it tonight. Okay, I'll tell you this though. So on the market right now, I'm going to ask you just a survey of hands because there's some big ones that a lot of people use that are pretty common. So you have RealFlow. Anybody use that? Yep. Anybody use FreedomSoft? Anybody use Podio or a version of? Okay. Anybody use Zoho? Okay. Anybody just use something that we haven't said?
Lion Desk.
Client Desk?
Lion Desk.
Lion Desk. Familiar with Lion Desk. And that agents use that a lot as a CRM, and that's a good one. Okay. So I use something called Streak. The reason I use Streak is because I am a total tech geek and I happen to love Google. Yes, I use an iPhone. I know there's a little contradiction there. Okay. I love the Google Marketplace. You can go into the Google Marketplace and I can find an app for anything I want to do. So I use something called Streak, which looks like a Sugarware's free-based type CRM type tool. It's a very, very simplistic tool. I'm able to build pipelines in it, and then I use two tools, one called Zapier. Anybody familiar with what Zapier is? Okay, and something called If It's, or If This Then That's.
Yeah.
And I'm able to program my CRM to do all kinds of cool things with other Google Play apps. My email is a G Suite's Google-based email. All of it integrates. All of it. Okay? So if anybody wants help with that, I can show you how. I learned about Streak just kind of crazily. I found a broker in Manhattan that's using it to run a multi-million-dollar operation up there. So that's the tool I use. But those of you using RealFlow, that's a good program. It's become very much more robust over the last few years. A lot of tools within it. So definitely, good question. Another one?
How much do you spend a month doing these? How much would you suggest someone starting out doing it?
Okay, so I'm going to just tackle the how much would you suggest. That's really the part I'm going to tackle. So really what it comes down to, guys, and this is on your own. You got to do this on your own. If you're working with a coach, which I highly recommend, my whole life I have worked with coaches, accountability groups, and coaches my whole life. And I sometimes have changed them. As I've grown, I've had to grow and find coaches that grew with me. Okay? I would work with whatever business coach you work with and take a look at your overall picture. What are your goals? Where are you trying to go? Where are your resources right now? Because that really answers your question. Some of you in this room may have, the cliche, more time than money, and some have more money than time. So the reality is that if a guy has no time, but he's got tens of thousands of dollars in the bank of disposable income, he could like rack it up on direct mail and be able to click. Okay? But if somebody else is in here and you have no money, but you got all the time in the world, maybe you're in between jobs, maybe you just want to do this full time and you're taking the leap, but you don't have a dollar, and I've been there, I get it, right? Then you're going to go do things like driving for dollars. Okay, so the reality answer is you've got to sit down and look at your goals, work backwards from there. We have certain metrics we can go by. We know that we're going to have to make, you know what, I got to talk to 50 people to get a deal. I got to make, 20 offers to get one under contract. Right? If we know what that's like, then I can work backwards to say, okay, well that means I got to go drive 500 houses on Saturday. See? There are ways to work backwards into what it is that's required for you to do. Does that answer it? Yeah?
Okay, what kind of resources can you provide us? I'm giving you an opportunity for an ad.
Oh, I love this. Well, and I'm not one to sell anything.
Thanks, Don.
I like that. Thank you.
That's Don.
I'm never one to sell anything, but you can't see anything on the screen, can you? If everybody will do me a favor, pull out your cell phone right now. You cannot leave me on that curtain. It will block it. I want you to do me a favor. All I want you to do is, I promise not to inundate you. In fact, you won't even get anything tonight. Just text the word love deals to that number, 31966. It's going to bring up a little link to a little form. All I want you to do is fill out that little form for me. I want your cell phone, your email, your name, and it asks you one question. And here's what you're going to get. I'm going to give you my list of all of the motivated qualified sources that I pay attention to get deals from. I'm going to give you my list of list providers. I give you no guarantee that all the hyperlinks on there work. It's a list I've collected over time. Okay? But I'm going to share it with you.
31966 or 996.
Yeah, I got to do love deals altogether, all lowercase. Let me know if it's not working. Should be. Should get an automatic text back. If it gets an automatic text back says, thank you for joining me tonight. Okay. Remember, any loves technology. Okay. Love deals. So this is what's going to happen. You're going to end up in my database and you're going to get a few things. You're going to get those things I just mentioned. My seller call-in sheet that I use, that I love, as well as, Dustin, my seller call-in sheet. You're going to get my list of deal providers and my list of what I target or where I go to find deals. Dustin's cracking me up here, right? So those are free from me just because you came here tonight, and I really appreciate that you guys took your time out of your life to come here. I love it. All right, now, the other things you're going to get from me are some reminders of opportunities coming up for you to do some more work with me if you're interested. So yes, we do in fact have workshops coming for you to do Facebook workshops, pay-per-click workshops, and just marketing and branding. For those of you that are licensed in the room, we just got approval and it launches this month. Actually, our first dates I think are February 20 and 21st, 22nd, but I'll verify for you in the email. Where we're offering a 9-hour CE and agent certification called CIPE, Certified Investment Property Expert. The first round of courses will be taught at the Real Estate Institute over in Johns Creek. It will be offered in 4 southern states starting this spring. So if you want to become some of the first agents that are ever CIPE certified, you can do that with me. And it's a 9-hour CE course. It's 2 days, 4.5 hours. And I literally walk you through the entire investment arena. It's $400. So you'll get all of that in there. There's I say that because there's an early bird price. I don't know what Michelle put on there. There's an early bird price, and then there's an at-the-door price, which I think is $425. It's less if you sign up early. I think it's $347. I think is what we said if you sign up early. Okay? But that is a 9-hour CE. Nothing like this has ever been offered anywhere. So we are the first to launch this. We intend to go nationally with it, so you'll be some of the first agents. So I will definitely get that out to you guys as a follow-up. Other than that, the last thing I just wanted to offer is those of you that have a license, since I'm not stunts I could sell, I am an investor-friendly broker. Right? So those of you that have a license that would like to work with an investor-friendly broker, because you intend to flip houses and do assignments and all those kinds of things that a lot of brokers go, ah! Okay? I actually can help you. I'll support you and help you and show you the right way to do things. I'm tough. I'm not the easiest broker to work with. I look sweet, but I'm really not. But I do want to see you succeed. So if you're interested in that, follow up with me, because the other thing you'll get with that little form is my contact information. So if you're interested in that, come talk to me and I'll tell you what it's like to work with our team. Okay? Is that cool? All right, anything else?
You're not a real estate agent, but beginning real estate investor. Can I still work with you?
Yes. So I'm going to be very politically correct with this as best I can. I have never in the past, until last year, started offering any type of independent coaching. I will do it, but I'm extremely selective about who I work with, and I can't take on more than 10 people at any one time. So there is an application that will come in some of the things that you get. Please fill it out. I would love to have you fill it out. It doesn't mean that there'll be a spot for you right away. We can let you know later, or maybe there's another option I think will be better for you, right? But we do some of that, okay? But I'm very, very selective. I like to work with my kids. So anything else I can help with? So, no? Yes? Good.
More questions about marketing, about anything we covered tonight?
How to get MLS access.
Ooh, okay.
That's a great question.
That's
How is an investor to get MLS access?
Very, very good question. All right, so there are online tools where you have access to the MLS technically. Zip Realty, Realtor.com. Those are pulling straight from the MLS, guys, right? Another way to do it, though, and this is above board, but you've got to find a real estate agent willing to do this with you. You can be listed as an unlicensed assistant for a real estate agent and be given MLS access as an assistant. It doesn't mean that they're making you a W-2 assistant and they're paying you to be an assistant. And it doesn't give you the access level that we have as agents. But it gives you access to all the listings and tax record data. Okay? But you're going to have a good relationship with an agent that sees the benefit in having you do that, and their broker is supportive of it. Okay? But that's probably the cleanest, simplest answer. Anything else?
Does Listing Book still exist?
Listing Book still does exist. So Listing Book is an option. An agent can actually put you into Listing Book as a client, and when you can go in there and you can search for property. It still doesn't give you all the information that you get from the agent's side, but it's pretty good, okay? I am not a lover of Listing Book. We do use it actually for our buyer clients. That's one way that we cultivate them using technology. So, good question. Anything else?
More questions? Over here.
Like probate houses, like how do you necessarily go in and find those if you're trying to do that yourself?
So probate's a great question. I'll give you 3 different tips for probate. One is that you can buy probate lists from probate list providers. And on the little handout I'm going to send you, there's a couple listed there where you can buy those what they call probate and what they call inheritance, which just simply means that they think someone's passed away, they had real property attached to them, and it may or may not have had to go through probate. Okay? That's one way. Another way is that you yourself can go to the courthouse and pull your own probate list. So if you have no money and lots of time, go figure out how to do it. It's a great learning process. There is nothing better than going to the court. How many people have been to the courthouse into the real estate section? Yes. Okay. If you haven't been, go. Field trip. Okay. There's a couple things you should always do. You should go to a foreclosure auction for the experience. You should go to the records department for real estate and look at the lien, just for the fun part. Go look up UT 61 all on your own. Okay. And you should go and find out how to pull a probate list. Okay. Same thing with bankruptcy. Okay. So yes, you should go. You can go pull that yourself. Okay? There is a local person that used to provide the probate list because they themselves went and pulled each county. I don't know if they're still doing it, but I'll find that out for you.
Yeah, but like, what if you found one, but the address on there, like, even on the tax records, it's the same as the house, and there's like no family, relatives or anything that you can find.
So this is where I would first, before I gave up, this is where I would skip trace to try to find additional family beyond the family we think is attached. Uncles, aunts, cousins, whatever, right? Try to find somebody that might be able to fill in the gaps of the story. But the reality is that on occasion, somebody dies intestate, there's no will, and there is no family. And so what happens is the probate actually ends up going, the property ends up going back to the county. Okay? So you may, in fact, sometimes encounter one like that. But generally, if you reach out to a family member and they did not know about any kind of probate notice that happened, they can still sometimes go back through the court system and say, hey, I didn't know, and try to see if they can. So it's worth trying to dig them up. Okay? Probate's a wonderful list. I call that a fermenting list.
Fermenting, I like that.
Fermenting, because that's the type of list where you're going to market to it, and if the family's involved, first of all, the probate process takes time. Oftentimes the family has no idea what they want to do yet with the property. Unless they're like, oh, I just want mom and dad's money, and they're like, yay, dad, the money. Okay, those happen, and they're like, can't wait for the close. All right, but a lot of times they really don't know what to do. They haven't figured it out. They may have to have an estate sale. There's all kinds of things that can happen in the process. So we like to just cultivate and let it ferment. We come in as a solutions provider. Hey, I can buy the property off of you. I also have this huge list of people that can help you. I have estate companies. I have contractors. I have all of these wonderful people. So if you need anything to help you guys get through this painful time, we're here to help provide that for you. Right? I don't focus on the property. I focus on what they need. I focus on their solution that they need, not the solution I think they need. I find out what it is, and we try to provide it. So probate's a wonderful list. Yes?
I wanted to ask about driving with dollars. How do you, when you're in the office, you're going to pick an area you're going to drive at. How do you pick the area? That's usually
Okay, so that could be a whole day. Okay, if you ask me how do we pick an area when we're going to drive for dollars? Okay, so my first answer to that is that how do we all pick where we're going to invest, right? So the broad answer to that is that I have to do some market research, and I'm looking for neighborhoods that I use the phrase gentrifying. I probably don't use it correctly. Honestly, those of you that are like definition geeks, don't get after me. But I'm looking for neighborhoods that I know have growth that's happening, coming soon. Investors want to buy there, and this is what I look for. I look for homeowners that are improving their property. Properties are already starting to be renovated there. Maybe I see new construction. I see commercial not dying out, but sort of coming back. Maybe the tax basis has improved. I look at tax records. Maybe the school grades have improved. Okay? That's how I might pick an area. The other way is simply, those of you that are always building your buyers list, how many people are always building your buyers list? Please, everybody put up your hand. How many people are always building your buyers list?
It should be everybody.
I don't care if you're just a rehabber. If you don't wholesale at all, who in here only rehabs? You better be building your buyers list. Here's why I say that. Because every time you get a property under contract, you have money in your hand before you have lifted a hammer to it, right? That is an asset that you can go make money with. I just sold one to a guy that everybody was like, that's totally your kind of house. You should have kept that. It's in your area. You can walk to it from where you live. Like, I got all these people like, why would you do that? Because I had bird in hand. 9 months later, lots of headaches and permits and oh my God, or bird in hand. Okay? So I chose the bird in hand route, right? And I was able to sell it quickly because I have a wonderful buyer's list. So that house, when I marketed it, in a 2.5-hour block, I had 21 people show up and I had 14 offers. Because I'm always building my buyer's list. So I bring that back to wherever you work. Well, where are your buyers buying? Okay? So if you've got a whole handful of buyers that absolutely love Venetian Hills, where do you go Saturday? Venetian Hills. Okay? It's really that simple. Okay? That makes sense? Now I will say this just to play devil's advocate on myself. A good deal will attract good buyers where you don't have buyers. Right? So if you know it's a gentrifying neighborhood and I don't have a single buyer buying in Sylvan Hills, let's just say I do, but let's just say I have nobody wants Sylvan Hills. But I can drive to Sylvan Hills and I can tell that's a neighborhood that's improving, okay? Then I'm going to go drive for dollars Sylvan Hills because I will find a buyer. Is that cool? Anything else? Create any other questions?
Who's got the next question?
So I absolutely love what I do. And so here's the thing, I absolutely do love it. You now have my contact information by nature of that form. So here's what I ask. I don't answer my phone. I personally just don't. I'm on it all the time, is really what it comes down
I
to.
thought I was the only one that didn't answer the phone.
No, yeah, you're horrible. Anyway, love Dustin. No,
I'm
so
a texter.
you're a texter. I'm a texter too. So if you guys, really want to ask a question or really get to know me, then I encourage you to follow up with me through my follow-up with you. So if I send you information about a class or a workshop or something that you could apply for, that's how I would love for you to interact with me. If you want to bring your license over, then definitely reach out to me first, or a definite one-on-one, okay? But don't be offended because I can't talk to everyone every day, right? So definitely come in and interact with me when I have open opportunities for you to do that, because I would love to see all of your faces join us for anything that we do. And in my office, sometimes we do free things. We'll do like a free Saturday thing. Like seriously, just like, hey, come and hang out with us. Sometimes I'm testing, you're my guinea pig and you don't know it. We encourage you to come in and just be a part of who we are. And now that you're in my database, you're my family too. So.
Let's give it up for Amy. So would you be interested in coming and doing one of these workshops with us?
You're asking me on live video, aren't you?
I am. So I expect appropriate response.
It's very, very possible, yeah. So we actually have, we're waiting on CE approval for a social media course. It's a 3-day course. So I'll keep you updated as we get things done, because then we could have the agents attend also.
Sounds good. Any last minute questions before we wrap things up? We all good? Let's give it up for Amy for being here tonight. Give your contact information out one more time.
On live Facebook video?
Yeah, you can throw your slide up or one more time.
Okay, so you guys have the form that you've just received. I would suggest that if you're on Facebook right now, simply text the word Love Deals.
Love Deals.
All together, lowercase, to number 31996. Fill out my little form, and we'll send you some free information and keep you on our list.
Because we do have a lot of people on Facebook Live tonight.
Great. Okay, that's awesome. So I apologize in advance because then you'll start to see me all the time, so you may have to unsubscribe from me. I'm so sorry.
She is an avid poster, that's for sure. Well, hey, I want to thank everybody for coming out tonight. Thank you for coming to the Beginning Investors Group. We look forward to having you in another meeting again real soon. Tomorrow is the on-site renovation group at noon for one of Mike Chwenka's properties. If you'd like to say a few words to our folks on Facebook, please do. Say hello.
Hello.
Hello, what's up? All right, let's give it up for Amy one more time. All right, everybody at home, we appreciate you turning in on Facebook Live. I hope you enjoyed this. We look forward to seeing another meeting again real soon. We are going to attempt to broadcast tomorrow night, not tomorrow night, tomorrow day at noon, the on-site renovation group with Mike Chwenka. We're going down to see his property down in Atlanta, another one of his sexy renovations. We hope to see you there live in person. If you can't make it, check us out on Facebook Live at the Atlanta RIA Facebook page. Good night, everyone, and God bless. Hope to see you in the meeting real soon.